Welcome back. I'm Lance. Here to talk about this little beauty. This is a Les Paul Classic. I got it from Sweetwater. It is a Sweetwater exclusive. The color is anyway. This is called Smoke Burst, I believe. Smokehouse Burst. I got this because it was sort of an impulse buy. Like most of you out there, I have been known to buy a guitar on impulse. Even though I haven't owned a Les Paul for a very long time, I have a soft spot for Les Pauls because my dad bought me a Les Paul when I was only 14 years old. I'd been playing guitar at that point for probably not quite 2 years, but I was so serious and so dedicated to playing, and he saw the progress I was making, and he wanted to buy me a Les Paul. So I think he had already eyed one. I believe I grew up in Michigan, mid-Michigan. So the place that he saw, almost certain he bought it from a place called Elderly Instruments in Lansing, Michigan. We lived not far from there. And he went there, I cased out the Les Paul that he had in mind, and he presented this to me. And my birthday was coming up. One of the things he said was, he told me that I had to pretend to be surprised in front of my stepmom. So, because he had already told me about it. But it was a Les Paul Deluxe Tobacco Sunburst. So this is reminiscent, slightly reminiscent of the Tobacco Sunburst. Of course, it's not just like Tobacco Sunburst, of course, much more yellow in the middle, and it's definitely browner on the outside. This one kind of goes more black almost on the outside. And the pickups are different, of course. The Les Paul Deluxe had mini humbuckers, but that was my first serious guitar. Before that, I had been playing on a borrowed, really old, beat-up Harmony. Anyway, my dad saw me playing this Harmony guitar in such a dedicated fashion, and I was so serious about it. And I just, every moment that spare moment that I had, I played guitar. My fingers were toughening up, and I have recordings of my guitar playing all the way back then, cassette recording. I've since digitized them. But man, I recorded myself until the tape ran out, right? And I flipped it over and recorded for another 45 minutes with just me jamming away. But my dad bought me the Les Paul. Probably in retrospect was a used, very good condition, but a used Les Paul Deluxe. And he spent $700 on it, which was massive back then. I mean, nowadays it would be like spending probably around double that, I would think. But that was also around the time that with a friend of mine, I started a band, and we went through a number of iterations. I've got pictures here, this one, that one, here, and here. And if you look closely in some of these pictures, you can see that I had replaced, by a luthier, the original mini humbucker with a DiMarzio, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was called a Super Distortion. And that's what I wanted. I thought it was going to give me distortion. I didn't know it was merely a high output pickup, and that was basically it. Because not long after that, when of course it didn't produce distortion, I ended up buying a distortion box. And my first distortion box was a Rat. So if you pull the tone knot up of the neck pickup, you end up with this very throaty, a very throaty, out of phase sound. There's a song I'm working on right now, this really driving metal song, kind of at least inspired by Meshuggah. And the beginning of it, one of the main sounds of the beginning, sort of the soft ambient beginning, is using this out of phase sound from this guitar. So I really like it. There's some uses for it that it just really works, especially when in combination with other sounds. There's another one that's an interesting choice here that I've never seen done before. I suppose others have maybe a switch that will do it. They chose to implement this with a push-pull pot, which is the tone pot for the neck pickup. So no matter where you are, you could have your neck pickup selected, right? And you could have the tone dialed all the way back, so it's just nothing but woo-woo kind of and then if you needed to, for some reason, kick into a really trebly hot sort of signal, you simply pull up on the tone knob of the bridge pickup, and it instantly is an open conduit. It's the bridge pickup with no electronics in between. It's just straight out the output jack. That sort of tone. Just pull up on the tone knob of the bridge pickup. So it's very interesting, the electronic combination they have here on this this guitar. The weight isn't necessarily the thing that I would mostly complain about. It's this upper bout here, this rib digging upper bout, right? That they've doggedly stuck with all these years with a Les Paul. It's uncomfortable, right? I remember when I owned my Les Paul, and I do remember that it wasn't not infrequent that I had kind of this bruisey feeling on my ribs because of where I don't wear my guitar terribly low. I don't wear it high, but I don't wear it low either. So it's always digging right here in my ribs. Even now as I'm sitting, that's a Les Paul. It's just the way a Les Paul is. I don't know why they never changed it. It doesn't make any sense. It seems silly to me that I'd either have to buy an Epiphone Prophecy or I'd have to go way up to the $5,000 range and buy a Gibson Les Paul Access. And those are pretty sweet instruments, by the way. The one with the Floyd Rose in particular, yeah. It's a great guitar. It's, you know, it's a Les Paul. All right, well, thank you so much for stopping by and listening to me blabber on about this Les Paul. It's a great instrument. I'm really enjoying having it. It has a really nice sonic quality to it. I'm recording some stuff with it right now, and I'm laying down some lead guitar parts for a piece.